Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Let's get into today's episode. So today we're going to be talking about the highlights from Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 3. So the episode started with Kiki and Tisha having a good old chat. And they were talking about, so Kiki was expressing to Tisha that she felt like Tisha bailed at a point where she needed her. Now, I understand what Tisha is coming from in the sense that Kiki was going through her addiction at the time. And of course, when someone is going through an addiction, you have to try to help them. But at some point, depending on how bad the addiction gets, you may have to take a step back to protect yourself from the situation. I absolutely appreciated the fact that Kiki apologized to Tisha. I thought that was a very sweet gesture, and I thought that that was something that she should have done, especially because it sounds like her addiction impacted upon Tisha and also their relationship and also some of the things that were coming across between them. Now, the one thing I did not like was the fact that I did not appreciate that Tisha kept interrupting Kiki when Kiki was trying to express her grievance, why things got that bad, where things were at with them. And I don't appreciate that. It's like Kiki listened to Tisha while she said everything she had to say and acknowledged and apologized. Why couldn't Tisha do the same? And I think this is one of my issues with Tisha, is that she does not take accountability. It's like, to her, other people don't take accountability, but in fact, she's the one that does not take accountability. Because why couldn't you just let Kiki finish? Why couldn't you let Kiki express herself fully before you then say whatever it is that you have to say? You might not agree, you might have a different side, but let her finish speaking on her side. That's what I thought. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about that. Now, let's talk about Maso and Mark. So I think this is the first time we've ever seen Maso's father, unless I have completely forgotten. Let me know in the comment section below if I'm wrong on that or I'm right on that. So Mark started to tell Maso about the fact that he needed to spend more time with his family. Now, it's so funny to me how someone has to tell you to take a step back from work to spend time with your family. Like, this is your family, the family that you created. No one asked you to marry your wife. You married your wife and you decided to give birth to children. Okay? So why does someone have to tell you to take a step back from work so that you can make time for your family, the same family you chose? That is something I never understood. I've never understood and probably would never understand. Okay? What was interesting is the fact that Maso kept pushing back. Maso kept sounding like, oh, he's still going to be working, still going to be doing all of that. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong in working. I'm a very ambitious person, so I completely understand the place of work and the importance of work, right? I get it. But at the same time, don't do that at the expense of your family. And especially if you have family that actually want to spend time with you. It's one thing to have family that don't care about you. So in essence, you're like, all you have is work. But these ones seem to care. These ones seem to want to have your time, but you're constantly working. That does not help anyone, especially when your children are growing up. And this is what some fathers do. And before you come for me, I said some. This is what some fathers do, where they work, provide, but then they don't work on building and having a relationship with their children. And so when they then grow older, the children don't want to see their father, not because they don't care. The children tend to then turn into that role of provider, where they just financially provide, but don't cater to any of your other needs. And then you wonder, why don't my children call me? Why don't they bother checking up on me? Because you have not created that safe space for them. You have not created that relationship. You cannot, of course, you can create a relationship later on in life, but you should not be surprised if, in fact, they don't want to spend time with you, because they had their whole childhood, their whole teenage years for you to want to spend quality time with them, but you didn't. So forgive them if they don't want to spend time with you when you're 50, 60, 70, and they're just over the need for a parent. So I think parents need to be very careful about that. Yes, financially provide, but that emotional support, that emotional provision is also very, very important. And I hope Maso knows that when he gets old, the only people that would be there for him are his family, and they might not want to be there if he continues to act like this. Okay. So let me know what you guys think about that. And yeah, let's move on to Tisha and Kimmy. So Tisha and Kimmy they mess up at a coffee shop. And so Tisha starts talking about how Maso had decided to get a business partner, didn't tell her. And the business partner moved into Tisha's spot, her desk, basically. I'm tired. That is how I feel. Maso does not respect you, Tisha. Like, how many times do we have to say it? He does not respect you at all. Anyone that respects you as a business partner or as a wife will tell you. That's just the fact. It would be something that would have been communicated before it even became something that was set in stone, that this person is showing up and moving your stuff at work. That does not make any sense. Like, he didn't mention it to her. Now, Kimmy, then they both start sharing stories about like their relationships and whatnot. I also saw a digital exclusive clip online where it sounds like they were all laughing about the fact that their husbands gaslight them. So it's like, oh, when I say something, they'll say they don't remember, but then I'm like, what the heck? Like, seriously, guys, like, are we laughing about being gaslit? Like, you guys, seriously, you guys need to hold these men accountable. It's like you hold everyone else accountable, but have so much grace for your men. Anyways, moving on from that. So the highlights of this whole cold chit chat was that Mel called Kimmy. So Mel called Kimmy. Kimmy put the phone on loudspeaker and started to tell Mel that, oh, she's out here with Tisha. So Tisha is like, oh, I want to speak to her. So Tisha gets the phone now and invites Mel to a spa day. What was interesting is Mel called Kimmy to talk about whether or not she could get massages and stuff like that, which gave me the impression she was trying to schedule something like spa related. And it's funny because Tisha did, well, according to what they showed us, Tisha didn't say anything specifically about a spa day until she picked up the phone. After she heard that, picked up the phone and said that. So I do wonder, did the spa day, was that something that Tisha had already planned, or was it Mel calling to talk about massages that gave Tisha the spa idea? Now, I won't be surprised if it was Mel's conversation that led to that, just because Tisha has been known to copy a lot of things that Mel does, including outfits, including hair, including all sorts of things. Mel is basically her blueprint, and that's just period. Anyways, we move. So let's talk about Maso's interaction with the kids for a second. So Maso was playing chess with the kids, which I really liked. I'm like, it's nice to actually see him spend some time with his kids. I don't know how much time he really spends, or whether or not he really does spend time with his children, but at least it was nice to see him do something with the kids, right? So then they were at the dinner table shortly afterwards. And tell me why Mr. Maso decides to bring up that, do you guys miss your mom cooking every day? Like, seriously. Children are not that hard to please. As long as there's food in the house, they don't really care who cooked it, when it was cooked. Most children anyway. Right? So I don't understand why he was talking about, you miss your mother cooking every day. Like, I'm sure the kids still ate. Like, what is the problem? And I'm like, is that something that is children appropriate? Like, is that something you bring up in front of the kids? Like, what is the reason for all of that? So she's just there like, oh, Maso. And then he's like, oh, she wants to work instead of cook for you guys. And then one of the kids was like, what about you? I was like, yes, ask him. What about him? Why can't you cook, sir? What is stopping you from cooking? You still have your hands. And I love when their son was like, I won't let my spouse talk to me like that, especially after 17 long years. I'm like, speak on it. That is a boy that is tired of his father. of his father's actions. 100%. Master better watch it, because that kid is going to give it to him hot if he's not careful. He better watch how he treats Tisha in front of that kid, because that kid is not going to, he ain't going to take it. He's not going to let that run. He started to show him that, bro, you ain't going to talk to my mother like that. Okay? So I hope Maso is ready for that. So moving on. So after the children left, Maso and Tisha started talking, and for me, it just reminded me of the way he talks to her is so off-putting. It's so disgusting. I might not be able to stand Tisha for a lot of things and a lack of accountability, but the way Maso talks to her, no one deserves that. No one deserves that. I don't care what it is. No one deserves that, okay? Like, nobody. I don't care. Nothing. No one should ever have to deal with that ever in life. It's just horrible. So Tisha starts talking about how she's trying to figure out her role in Maso's businesses, and she talks about the fact that she owns 85% of Scold and she wants to be involved in day-to-day. So he starts talking about like she needs to play her role, blah, blah, blah. And then Tisha is like, she wants Maso to acknowledge her feelings. So this is the part that got me. Maso said he understands logic and that Tisha needs to communicate with him with logic and evidence. I'm like, this is not a courtroom. This is not a courtroom. Why do I have to communicate to you with logic and evidence? Seriously. So I should be like, point one, this is what this is. And the reason I feel this way is because on this day at this time you did this. Like, seriously, bro, this is a conversation. Like, it is not a courtroom. Let me share a quick story, personal story for you guys, right? So I worked as a lawyer. I'm still a lawyer, but I used to work as a lawyer at some point, right? Now I don't currently practice, but I used to practice as a lawyer at some point. And I had a disagreement with the guy I was dating at the time, and explained to me why this guy was basically talking about how he doesn't understand, like, I'm the lawyer, I need to be arguing with facts and this and evidence. So similar to this person, I'm like, bro, let's just say we broke up after that. That was the day that I knew that it was done, and never went back. Never spoke to him on that level again, ever since that day. Because I'm just like, seriously. So I must now be bringing evidence and stuff to have a conversation with you to tell you how I felt about something that you did. Nah, hell nah. So Tisha better wake up, or he's going to continue to do that to her. He's going to continue. And the thing is, the children are watching that example. So what I don't want is for their son to eventually start emulating such terrible behavior. Anyways, let's move on. Let's talk about that spa night, guys. That spa night was mad still. That spa night was mad. So Tiffany just likes to start nonsense. Like, she's the girl that is just there starting ish. Do you hear me? So Tiffany starts making little jabs here and there, talking about like, if I put the socks in my hand, would that be considered a puppet? I'm like, girl, sit your pregnant ass down. Like, chill, sis, chill. Anyways, so Melody, Tiffany, and Stormy were in a room. They were really enjoying the sound bath. Next thing, Tiffany starts bringing up Kiki and saying that, practically insinuating that she's a bad person because her and Tisha was getting into it and she came on the show talking bad about her family, all of that. So Mel was like, Kiki is not a bad person. I appreciated the fact that she said that. But then Tiffany just kept going on. And so Mel practically ignored her, and Mel was like, what I'm trying to focus on right now is the peace. Let's talk about the peace. I'm like, all right, girl, enjoy the peace, honey. Tiffany was not here for it, I can tell you that much. And Stormy's face just looked like, what is going on here? But that's the thing, like, I'm sorry, if I'm out here at a spa night, I don't want no gossip. I just want to enjoy myself. Like, I'm not here for all the shenanigans. It's a spa day. Like, let's all focus on why we're here. Like, seriously, relaxation, that's the point. It's not like a tea party where you're like, ooh, let's sip tea and talk about the tea, honey. But no, this is a spa day. I'm just here trying to relax, okay? Girl, over on the other side though, there was like war between Kimmy and Kiki. So Kiki mentioned to Kimmy that she felt like the way she took things back to Tisha was incorrect and was trying to basically check her about that. Now, you know what's interesting? I actually agree with Kiki on this one because I don't know if you guys saw the scene or remember the scene of when Kimmy took the information back. It was almost like she made it seem that Kiki just went there and was just telling on Tisha unprovoked. Instead, she was being asked certain questions. And even in that, it looks like even Kiki was trying to defend Tisha to an extent. So the way Kimmy portrayed it, I'll be honest, it was giving instigator. So I actually appreciate the fact that Kiki called her out. But what I didn't like was the fact that Kimmy was just like, you didn't think showing up to Mel's party is instigating a problem. Now, Kiki and Mel are friends or are cordial, have been for a while, right? It's not today, right? So, however, I also understand Kimmy's position that Tisha and Mel aren't cool. Why are you here? So I get it. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you should then go and blow things out of proportion when that was not really what was said. If you're going to take something back, at least take it back a little bit balanced. Like, let it be a balanced conversation as opposed to you saying a little something here and then missing out the fact that Stormy was the one that kept questioning Kiki. And Kiki had to say something. And in a way, Kiki didn't really even say much. Kiki tried to even defend her to an extent. So I feel like everyone has a part to play in it, in the sense that Kimmy was definitely instigating by taking it back the way she took it back. Kiki should have probably said, ain't my business, I am staying out of it. And that would have saved her all of this trouble. What Tiffany did say that I thought was interesting was that she felt like she could not trust Kiki because of the fact that she threw her cousin under the bus. Now, I get, because I would never tell Kiki anything if I was her sister, cousin, whatever, friend. I would not tell her anything because under pressure, I don't know how much of my information you will spill out, okay? And I don't tell people that are like a basket that cannot hold water anything. I keep my cards close to my chest for people like that. So that's what I would say. So Kiki was definitely wrong either way. She could have just shut it down. I'm not here to talk about my cousin. I'm here to have a good time. And that's it. But that would not have made for a good enough reality TV show. But that would have at least kept her relationship solid, okay? That's your family. That's your family. That's your kin, okay? But at the same time, I also understand Kiki's position. If my so-called family hasn't been defending me, hasn't been keeping my business quiet, why should I have to keep your business quiet? So there is that as well. All in all, I thought it was an okay episode. Of course, it takes a while for these things to like bubble up and like get more interesting. The parts that I wish they were showing on the show is the digital exclusive clips they keep posting online. It's like those clips are really good. They're giving us so much insight, but can we have that on the show? It's like you're missing the good stuff out and creating a narrative with the show that I'm not particularly pleased with. But anyways, we'll see how it goes. Give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and tap that bell for notifications so you know every single time that I post. Also, there are some exciting things coming up. We're going to be doing some live videos soon, and I'll be co-hosting with someone. At the moment, it's looking like just Love and Marriage Huntsville and Real Housewives of Atlanta for now, but we might be doing other things together. So yeah, you guys stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe and tap that bell for notifications so that when we do start these videos, you can join us and join the conversation. We want to hear more from you, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.